Good evening, folks. Welcome to Dropping the Hook Live. We got another great pool coming up this weekend at Mooresville Dragway. Joining us tonight is Mr. Jeremy Wayne. John Pickler is going to be joining us hopefully a little bit later, and Mr. Eric Yost. Did I say that correctly?
Yes, sir. Yep.
All right. So Eric, you got a little bit going on, and that's been the question that I've got on social media pretty much since Rich Hill finished this past weekend. But um, what's kind of the game plan right now for this pool coming up this Saturday?
This is obviously our first one, and we've been working on this all of last year and this year. Basically, probably 15 months now, and that was one of the first things we wanted to add on to the drag strip was a pool track, and Jeremy was obviously our choice to do it because he's 3 miles down the road. He's obviously involved, and I knew the track would be perfect when he was done with it. So having Jeremy involved with it, and it is super nice. And had Chad come out and do the layout and everything, and it's we've got a lot of options. It's not not in one corner. We can do different stuff with it. So really happy the way it turned out, and really excited to be our first pool and get it going.
So as a promoter of a dragway, what's been so far your biggest challenge with trying to get this pool together? Because you talked about it's taken about 15 months to get it together. What's been the big challenge getting that track put in?
Yeah, basically, we were went to Rowan County 23 days into ownership and said, hey, what do we need to do? And we jumped through all the hoops and did everything to get rezoned for sound analysis and the DOT checks and erosion control, did everything right. So, getting everything to the finish line and getting this thing off is a big deal for us also.
So, and our show is going to start at 6 p.m., but tell us a little bit about, you're going to have lawnmower pulling that afternoon also.
Yeah, lawnmower and kids pulling before, and then the big show starts at 6 o'clock.
So what time is that? Does the lawnmower pulling start?
We're probably going to start a little early, probably 11 or 12, just so we got enough time to get everything prepped for the big show.
Yeah, there's a lot, and that's one thing about when you want to get a fresh track in there for that night show, and we'll talk about, especially when I got there, when I start announcing. That's one thing I talk about. These tracks, this dirt changes constantly. So if you pull at the beginning of a show and there's still sunlight on that track's drying out. And then all of a sudden, you'd be surprised in 15 minutes when that sun goes down how much of a difference that does make on that track. So you watch those guys, and I know, Jeremy, you guys walk out there and y'all look at the track a lot, and you'll see it, especially with the Pro Mod 4-wheel drives. You would think they were trying to dig for gold because they're just trying to check that track out and find out what they got going on. But, one of the things I want to bring up here, and Jeremy, you lost our co-host there.
Yeah.
He was tired of sitting and you left, I think. But
you quit showing tractors going down the track, so he had to leave.
That sounds like my daughter. So Jeremy, you've come out with a new truck, and I'm just gonna, I'm gonna bring up your old truck here just for a second. The Mayor, you drove this last year, and you were talking about some of the changes that you've made to it. And we're going to show this run real quick, and then analyze what you're going through when you're sitting in the seat and getting ready to launch that thing, because it's not just like driving an everyday truck. Let's add this to the stage.
Yeah, like right along here, you're just trying to get ready and focused on exactly where you're going, to the end of the track where you want to aim for it at the very end, and making sure you get the clutch out at the right time for track conditions. And like right along here, you're just kind of hanging on ready, just waiting to the end.
Now, was that the fresh motor or the new motor, or is that the old motor?
No, that was that pool right there. We had just put a new motor in, and that particular run right there, it decided it wanted to eat the turbo. So we lost a turbo that night, a brand new Hart's turbo.
Wow. Now, so, and we were discussing this a little bit before going on air earlier. So one of the challenges in that truck class is, you were talking about, well, I wouldn't say a challenge, but one of the things that you were talking about is you're going from a 16 valve setup to. Tell us a little bit more about the fuel combinations that y'all are trying. You've gone to a common rail. What are the benefits of going that way?
Yeah, we come from that truck originally had a 12 valve in it. And, that's what everybody used to pull. But then everybody's went to 24 valves, either a P pump or common rail. And the common rail stuff is, computerized. And that's what we went to. It's just the way to get more power. So, we went common rail in my new truck, and we've actually got a new common rail in the Mayor now. And we've just got basically 3 hooks on it now so far as of Ridge Hill last weekend.
Well, that was kind of, you had, and you might be able to explain a little bit of this to us too. Saturday night, you got ready to launch, and I don't know if you were getting blinded by the green light on the sled or what was going on, but I think you started to take off, and I didn't see a red flag or I didn't see a green flag and that happens because I used to drive a turbine tractor, and we were in Lumberton, North Carolina, and it's real dark, or used to be real dark at the starting line. So what you basically look for was the person to move their arm is what you were kind of looking for.
Right.
And I didn't see it, and I took off, and with the turbine, there is no backing out. Once you go, it's, there's no backing out. So I saw that the other night. I didn't know if that was something you just didn't see the flag or if it was just, what happened there as far as blinding. Cause I know that green light flash is pretty bright.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was a little bit of a miscommunication between myself and the flag guy, I guess.
Yeah.
And the green light was on the sled, and I tried to go, and my light had went out on my tack, and I was really focused on the tack, so I wasn't looking for anything in my peripheral vision. So, it was just a mistake, probably more than one way, but that won't never happen again, hopefully.
Well, it happens. I mean, that's the thing about it. And there's a lot of stuff going on in the seas, like you were just talking about. You're focused on the tack, building the RPMs. You're focused on the clutch. You're focused on, getting out of the hole, because if you don't get out of the hole right with these trucks, and you've seen this, and, we've had a couple of drivers, struggle with it sometimes, not only in this class, but others. But if you get out of that hole a little rough, a little too aggressive, that truck's going to hop a little bit, and you definitely don't want that with all that horsepower.
Yeah, we know all about the hopping from the start of last year and the half a year before that, if you remember correctly.
Yep, I do. But that's one of the things. And I've talked to several other pullers. A couple of the other guys. Mike Ward has never had a problem with his light forward drive hopping, and all of a sudden this year, it's magically developed a hop, and he has no clue why. It just. That's just the nature of the beast. I think John Pickler's trying to come in. I'm going to add him up, but I don't see him on the screen. He's trying. Let me remove him. I'll see if I can't text him to you in a second. Eric, so when is the last time you've been to a truck and tractor pull?
Bowling Green, Ohio. So we went up there a few years ago and had a blast. And, I grew up going to Pumpkin Center, which is, close to here, when I was 5, 6, 7 years old. So, miss the local stuff around here. And, it's always been, if it runs on gas, diesel, propane, methanol, I like it. If anything, if we can make it go faster and do something, I'm all about it. So
if it makes noise, it's all good, right?
That's it.
Well, you're going to have your first, you're going to be right at home watching this one this year. You won't have to drive. For me, it was like 10 or 11 hours to get there, but, and we've talked about Bowling Green and a lot of the other big pulls. That one's just a gigantic show in itself. When you see 140 vehicles running a 4-hour session, is just insane. But
it's wild.
Yeah, it is. So you're gonna have this truck and tractor pull right here in your backyard. Is there anything that you're looking to see or that you want to see?
I want to do it right. I told Jeremy, we have a chance to, build this track right and do it right, and hire y'all to come in and do it right. And I think we're going to have a good show with weathercroft weights. And Jeremy did a bang up job on the track. I mean, it's really, really nice. We got 400 foot of Jersey Bears, 350 foot of shutdown after that. I mean, it's really nice track.
Right. That's the thing about it. Everybody's kind of watching the weather, but I think Eric, you were talking about it, and so was Jeremy. That weather looks like everything's going to end Friday afternoon or early Friday evening, and then he's back. He wants to watch more videos. But that weather looks like really Friday night around 7 or 8 o'clock. What I was looking at earlier, and it looks like after that it's pretty much dry, and so. With the facility, what I've heard about the facility, I hadn't been there yet, but talking to you and talking to Jeremy and talking to Chad, you got good drainage there. It looks like it's going to be fine to do, and the track's actually still covered in grass, which is going to really help out and keep the dirt from running away. So, but that's one of the challenges we've seen to run into our share of weather threats this year. I think. There's been several rainouts. We had Pine Tops rain out one night. Some of the other local pools here got rained out at least one night. So the good Lord has an idea of what he wants to do. So that's, if he wants to give us rain, that's what we're going to get. So, but we were talking about explosions, and me and Jeremy were talking about this before. Let me get this pulled up. This is, I don't know how good you're going to be able to see it up here, but I'm going to pull it up anyway. Add the stage. Okay, so, and if you've watched any kind of TikToks or anything else, this is, and Jeremy, you can tell us a little bit more about what kind of setup he's got. Let me rewind this a little bit, just a second.
Trying to make big horsepower, aren't they, Eric?
Yeah, big. Big horsepower, big explosions.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, when you put the nitrous to them, you're apt to get that right there.
Let me see if I can back it up where I can get. There's the piston right there.
Yeah, that's the piston coming at you. And if you can see it up real close, right behind that's the rings coming through there.
Oh yeah,
that's the piston right there, folks. If you're watching that, there it is. I see. Oh, there's John. I see John poking through. But that's the piston right there. So, needless to say, and there were some other pictures circulated on Facebook and other social media, and we've seen this in the Light Pro class and some of the other diesel super stock classes where it basically splits the block in half. So it pulls the sleeves and the top half of the block out, and is just laying over there on its side. So we've had our fair shares of those kinds of explosions, and hate when that happens. But like you were talking about, you were saying he was running nitrous. So you're running nitrous, and I'm sure he's running some other hot fuels along with it too, trying to get all that horsepower.
Yeah, all they're trying to do is make a big number on the dyno just so they can say they made no his horsepower.
I mean, that's just insane right there. But anyway, the ring.
Yeah.
Look, the rings are popping on the ground over here on the floor. I mean, that is just insane. And you see these two guys right here, and they got this in slow-mo. And they're looking for fire, and there it goes. But we're going to play it one more time. That is just insane. All right, we just helped them get a couple more views. But, that talks about how the technology is really being put in. And and we look at diesels a lot, because if you look at just a couple of years ago, and I've talked about this with some of the pro stock guys on the PPL circuit and the Grand National NTPA circuit, they've gained almost 1,000 horsepower in 2 years, just with the turbo technology, the fuel technology, the whole thing, the whole kit and caboodle, gaining all that horsepower. And for example, this block's designed to run 500 horsepower max?
Probably not even that.
Yeah. So, and he's pushing 3,000. Mm-hmm. So at what point is too much, I guess you can say. So, yeah. But it's interesting to watch it. Let's see if I can get. He's still. He's coming in and out. He must be on the road somewhere or something. Well, I'll try him here in a second. But and going back to the technology thing a little bit. So you were talking about gaining that horsepower by going to common rail. Um, the turbo technology, how is that changing right now? What is the big change as far as in the pro straight diesel world as far as the turbo technology? Is there y'all limited to a 2.6 turbocharger? Is there
Yeah,
anything new and exciting going on with that?
yeah, we've actually got two of the latest and greatest hearts, which, according to what they're telling us, gives you basically 20 extra horsepower. And when we put them on the truck, we could pretty much tell that it had gained its horsepower. We made a quick change on Saturday and put a new one on the Mayor truck, and mine's had a new one on it for about 4 or 5 pulls anyway. Right. So yeah, there's a lot going on there, and they're constantly changing that turbo technology to try to make more and more with them.
One of your competitors popped in here. Looking forward to being over there. Are there any RV hookups for the haulers?
We have a couple. We're working on doing a big row of RV hookups, but we do have a couple. But they may have already been spoken for.
All right, and I was going to bring this one up too. We hope you do bring your grandson to his first pull. Bring him out there early a little bit and get to see around. I mean, because a lot of these pullers are going to be out there mid-afternoon. Walk around, talk to them, hang out for the low more pull, check some of that stuff out, because I'm telling you, some of the stuff, like we were in Rich Hill this weekend, and some of the investments these guys have in these hot rod pullers or these lawnmower pullers is insane. We talk about big money, but these guys really spend a big chunk of money and build some quality stuff. So, Mr. Dennis, bring your grandson on out there. We look forward to seeing him out there. Glenn's asking the question: are the gates going to be open Friday night?
Yes, probably so.
Okay, he's got 2 trucks, so he's bringing a pro mod and a pro stock 4-wheel drive. So, but I mean, you got people talking about how close it is. They hadn't seen a pool in their backyard. I want to give a shout out to them for watching this tonight. So, a lot of people are looking forward to this. You're in a huge area. You're right there north of Charlotte. So I think your draw is going to be huge coming into this pool. I hope it is. And this pool goes off without a hitch. I'm going to try John one more time real quick, see if I can't. I don't know if he just didn't have good connection. Hang on just a second. Let me try texting. He might be able to respond to that better. What I want to do is actually bring up his son right here. This is Wyatt Pickler. This young man. You'll have to ignore the generator noise. There was a generator right behind our camera. That class, and we've talked about this class all season long, and I was hoping John was going to be up here because I wanted to bring him in on this. This is the hot farm class or pro farm class if you're on the NTPA side. But this class right here is basically 466 cubic inches. They're running a box charger. So they basically take the turbocharger out of the box, mount it on the tractor. These guys are running P-pumps. But I want to give Wyatt a shout out on this because he's probably, I would say, and I hate to say it like this, he's the most improved driver. He's really fit. He's finding his loop. He's finding what makes that tractor work. He's picked up a couple of wins. And the big thing right now has been primarily this class. Zachy Bissett has basically dominated this class for the last 2 years. And all of a sudden, you're getting the Allen Boards, you're getting the Justin Sturdivants, you're getting the Wyatt Picklers. You're getting a lot of new names all of a sudden taking a win in this class. Matthew Carter brought up a great point. That class has grown big time. I think we had 10 or 11 last weekend. So this class is really growing. It's a very competitive class. John's still trying to get in. Does he want me to play it one more time for him?
Well, he's got his mama's telephone, and he's watching Truck and Tractor Pull.
Oh, okay. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's one thing I love for my daughter to do. I got a 6-year-old, and we'll come in, and I was like, "What do you want to watch?" And most of the time, it's some kind of cartoon or something crazy, some crazy TV show. And I'll be like, "Well, how about Tractor Pull?" And she's like, "Yeah, let's watch Tractor Pull and Daddy." I'm like, "All right, well, I can go along with that one."
Yeah.
But that's I got to give Wyatt a shout out. He has definitely been, I would call, the most improved in that class. That class is tough. I mean, if you watch it, some of the distance. Let me pull this up here, just a second. I want to pull this up and show you this. Don't forget, folks, if you want to buy Carolina apparel, we're going to have some out. Probably won't be this year, but we'll have it out next season. Definitely want you to come check it out at angryduck.com. If you're definitely looking for any kind of apparel, check those guys out, because I'm telling you, to get good quality stuff, a good price, you can order it right straight online. I'm watching myself online. Let me pull this up. Oh, no. Let's see. Let's run through a few of these real quick. These are just some of the results from this weekend. I want to give a shout out to Levi Sharon. That was his local hometown pull. Ended up pulling off the win in the Hot Street Gas. Glenn, that truck, that ever since he's changed that motor, has been phenomenal. Ron Beasley back on the Farmall Fever. That's a brand new engine. That was the first pass on it. With that, he's got an updated block in that one. He was running it basically a cast block, and it finally split. And so he's updated it, and that thing is running exceptional on the first pass. Beat out Hunter Beasley on the Power Hound. Zachy, he ended up winning, but Dustin Bostic on that melting rods is, you see how close that distance is. 337.56, 337 and 44. That's how close it is. And Wyatt Pickler sitting right there in third at 334. I mean, so that class is pretty dang tight. And you go in classic modifieds. Rusty got his first win, I think, in probably a year on that home wrecker. Small block minis, Mike Ward, he found a groove, which that track's always been good to him on the Just Nuts. Super Farms, Brad Gautier on the Outlaw. Cody Singletary, glad to have him back in Rich Hill. I think he's planning to come this weekend. Pro Street Diesel, is this PJ's first win?
Yes, it is. Yeah, we had put a new, or not a new, but a updated P pump that come off the Mayor truck on that truck, and that was the first time it had pulled with that new pump on it. So it woke it up. We're gonna have to try to out pull him now. So we made our own competition.
Well, and I would love for you guys, if you win tonight. I see he's like popping through. Let me add him to the stage. I see his finger or something going across the screen. One of the things on that class that I've noticed, like PJ, that truck is, when he hooked in the other night out of the hole, that was the smoothest that truck. It just kind of hooked. It took off and was smooth all the way down. And I wish we could have got, there he is. Hey, John.
I hear you, Bert. I don't know if you can hear me.
I hear you. You're good.
Okay.
You're good.
I'm sitting in a combine. We're harvesting corn. Yeah. So
yeah.
We got to pay the 2-wheeler bill. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what we brought you up here. Let me run through a couple of these. Just hang tight just for a second, John. But talking about PJ real quick, we got to get him to come up and talk to me. Why didn't he come up and talk to me the other night?
That's gonna be hard. That's gonna be hard to do. You'd be better off to get my wife or his wife wanted to talk for him, because they were over the top because he won. They've been wanting him to win all year, and they've been on me and Andrew and everybody else about making sure we work on his truck and make sure it goes to the front. So we made sure that happened. We might have made sure of it a little too good, so we might have to go back and start detuning
it a little bit. Yeah. Let me hit this up. Pro Mod 4s, Michael Heffler on the third shift. Sammy and that Sammy Fraterelli and Tony Fraterelli, they both run that All Started Here truck. One runs in the Pro Mod, one runs in the Pro Stock. But I tell you, Sammy might be losing his seat, because he went at Greenville and placed second out of that group too, in Greenville, Tennessee, that group of trucks that was there. So I wonder if Sammy ain't got a little bit of an edge on his daddy. And Jimmy Johnson was the only two-wheeler that we had last weekend. Unfortunately, we've had a couple of breakages. But anyway, to give you that rundown. So, John, what I was going to bring up, we actually showed a video of your son running. In fact, I don't. Can you see the videos?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if you saw this before. We'll play it one more time for you. So, John, what I was kind of saying, I don't know if you heard me before or not, but what I was saying was that I would probably say Wyatt's probably the most improved driver we've had because he has pulled off a couple of wins. He's aggravating the mess out of the rest of the deers and that one other international. So, I know you got to be proud of him because that tractor has run superbly this season, and he's been pretty much in the top 5 at least one night all the way through the season.
Yes, he has. He's done a good job for us this year. We've had some issues with getting the front end down. If we can keep that front end down, that tractor seems to run so much better. So I like to ride with the front end in the air, but he likes to ride with the front end on the ground. Yeah,
everybody's got their different driving style. So, you made that comment right when you got on just a few minutes ago, John. One of the things that you had a breakage in Lumberton, North Carolina, a couple of weeks ago, and unfortunately, the little man came out, didn't it?
Yeah, we've got either a V6 or a V10 now. You look at the holes in the side of the block, but hey, we're gonna get her fixed. She'll be back strong next year.
So, and that's a new truck for you. That's a new chassis that you were running underneath that power plant, correct?
Yes, different motor setup. We had run a Minor Brothers before. This right here is a Brad Anderson, whole different setup. We having to learn it. I don't really know what happened. We wasn't running a hot setup. Just something come loose, called pulling.
Yeah, that is. You've had and I hate to bring this up, but you've had your share of rough rides too in Harrells, North Carolina. That was several years ago. But that truck got high up on the wheelie bars and it slammed. You had a rough ride that night.
Yeah, we should have went to the hospital that night. We sat in the back of an ambulance there about 30 minutes, but old hard head didn't go. But we went to the chiropractor for a month after that. But we were lucky we didn't hurt no more than what we did.
Well, I got to say that truck is probably one of the most appealing and sharpest trucks out there right now. When you pull up and you see that whole outfit, when you guys show up with the wrap trailer, the wrap truck, and the Gamechanger smoke, you guys definitely put on a show of professionalism, no doubt about it.
Well, I enjoy pulling, and I want to support the sport as good as we can. Let's go looking professional. I think that's nothing but good business. I sure do.
So while I got you on this, what's one thing that you think we need to step our game up? What do you think one thing at a show that would step our show up and make it a little bit better or make it a little more professional? Or is there more than one thing? And this goes out to everybody on this, but I'm going to start with him on this.
Well, there's a couple things maybe we could do, but Bert, just adding to the show, just like I'm telling you now, what has really added to the show, and I think it helps a lot, is a scoreboard at the end of the track, and also the miles per hour. That right there has really added, to my end, a lot to the sport. And I write down, everybody's distance in miles per hour in my class. Well, you can go back and study that, and then you can bring something back to the table. That might tell us what gear we want to run. It tells us how fast we are, it's just a good thing, and I enjoy the sport. There's a lot in this hot farm class. A lot of good tractors. I mean, we got really good stuff in this class, and your professionalism on the mic is doing a great job for the sport. I like to see it promoted, and it is promoted hard. But and we had a good crowd at Rich Hill. So
I mean, it was basically standing room only in that place. I mean, from one end of the start line to the other end. And John, you know this, and Jeremy, you do too. I like to walk around, and if you notice, I like to mingle with the fans and stuff. And I'll go if you want to make somebody feel uncomfortable, just walk up, sit down with them. With like I had the what do you call it, where they cut up potato and deep fry it. Anyway, had that, and I just grabbed one, went down, sat down next to a lady, and just started talking to her with the microphone. And that lady thought I was insane. I mean, she really did. But she ended up having a conversation with me. She wasn't from here; she was from Ohio, so she knew all about tractor pulling. But that's one of the things. This is on my end. I feel like if we can relate more to the fans, then the fans will relate more to us. Is one of the things. But Eric, what's one thing that you think, just in motorsports in general, how can we step up the game a little bit? Where can we step the game up at?
I mean, it's so much social media nowadays. Just getting everything out and promoted that on that end of it. We made a bunch of flyers this year, and I put it on all the tool trucks, and just getting it out. On Facebook, and you got TikTok and Instagram now, and you got to look those avenues, and it's just so much out there on that end of it that you got to go after. Because it's not just flyers in your gas station anymore. So it's all over everywhere now.
And this is one thing. My uncle used to do a lot of promotions in Eastern North Carolina, middle part of the state, with Winston-Salem and Lumberton and some of his other pools. And you could do radio stations. That's one of the challenges now, is radio advertisement has gotten so expensive. And I know in your county, especially Mecklenburg and the surrounding counties, it's extremely expensive. Even here in the eastern part of the state, used to, where you could spend $1,000 and get 2 to 3 weeks of just general, pop in airtime. Now, I was speaking with some of the other promoters, and they're like, you're not going to be able to get nothing for under a couple of grand for a couple of days. I mean, it's just gotten. So, we've got to start looking at those other avenues. Still say the flyers, if you can do 4x8 banners, but like in Mecklenburg County, like I lived in Horry County in Myrtle Beach, if you put out a 4x8 sign, even though it was on public land or public property, the county would come by, they would fine you and take the sign down. So you got to be careful of how you do that and all that kind of mess too. So right now, I still say social media, if you can afford radio, and do it the old school way. The flyers, the banners, the little real estate signs, if you can get them out that way. It just depends on the county you're in and how you're doing it. So I guess. Jeremy, what do you think's the next step?
As far as professionalism?
Yep.
I mean, y'all covered pretty much everything. And I mean, it's, the sky's the limit on that. Just trying to figure out exactly which avenue to go down to get on the right path for it. I mean, it's hard to just sit here and say exactly what somebody needs to do to get there. But I kind of agree with what John said about the scoreboard and some things. We do the same thing he's doing with the scoreboard. We want to know everybody's distance and everybody's speed and things of that nature. And, and Eric hit it all on the head about the social media and different things of that. So there's just lots of different things. I mean, it's just can't put a finger on one thing.
Well, and the scoreboard is definitely one thing that in both organizations, Carolina Pullers and United Pullers, both have a scoreboard. And that's one thing that the fans see that number, they see the mile per hour, and that mile per hour, believe it or not, is a telling sign. Because if you can get that whole shot, especially in that first 100 feet, if you can get that ground speed up and keep it hooked, normally the person with the highest mile per hour is going to be in the top 1, 2, or 3. I mean, 9 out of 10 times. I got somebody popping in right here. You might know this one. So, driver introduction, that's one thing that, I think we need to definitely look at, especially, if we have time. And it seems like we all get prepared and then it's always like a mad rush that last hour before. But putting a face to a name, that kind of thing, I agree with that. That's if we can plan that out better, where we can bring those drivers' faces in front of the crowd. Because the only time they see you guys is that 8-second run and you're in that fire suit right before you run walking the track.
That's right.
Hey, Mr. Schultz. Hey, Mr. Schultz. Jason Schultz joining us here tonight for a little bit. But that's one thing we definitely need to look at. Maybe we need to look at driver introduction a little bit and see if we can work that in, because I really think that would be a positive effect as far as, and I think it would help the drivers too, because we were just talking about PJ. He's not going to be very much on a microphone. If he gets comfortable being around, I mean, Jeremy, you kind of hid from me in Greenville a little bit, didn't you? And then
I've never been one to be in the spotlight. I mean, I want to do the best we can, and I'm a very, very, very competitive person. Right. But I've never been one to be on the microphone or on the spotlight. And actually, with the way you're doing things and asking us to come talk to you, and a lot of times you'll catch me off guard and you just stick the microphone in my face. So I've kind of got a little used to it, and it don't really bother me as much as it has in the past.
Yeah, and that's, and I don't mean this wrong or but that's what I kind of do. I mean, and the reason why is not because I want to catch you off guard, but have I asked any questions that are very hard tonight? Not really. That's what we're talking about tonight is what the fans want to hear about during the show. What are you thinking about before you run, and what your game plan is? I mean, don't give all your secrets, obviously. I've had a few people tell me that not to pay attention to whatever they say on the microphone, because it's not what they're really thinking. But, that's stuff, and that's the whole part about the promotion. Y'all have great vehicles. I mean, y'all have some of the top. I mean, you look at any of these. I mean, you look at Gamechanger Smoke. You look at this truck right there. That is, and I know the light here in Rich Hill is a little bit yellow, so the color is doesn't show the true color of that truck, but that truck is gorgeous. That body style of that truck, the way that truck, it looks professional. And we were talking about John's truck, and that all these guys have professional looking equipment. They have great equipment, that it runs good, it's competitive. You guys put on a heck of a show, no doubt. We're going to throw in last word here, because we've been actually talking for about 40 minutes. Last word. We're going to start with you, John. What's the one thing you want to do this weekend?
Well, I'm hoping we're having good weather that we can come up, because I got a lot of people there done the Mooresville drag race. Hey, we want to put that smoke. We're going to try to put smoke up there in front of Dirt Candy and that other international. I mean, he's won enough. It's somebody else. So we're doing what we can do, but hey, we're going to have fun either way, okay?
All right. Hang tight just for a second, John. We're going to do the commercial at the end of this, and just hang tight. Everybody stay on. Eric, what's your words of the weekend?
Man, looking for good weather. I mean, the track's going to be amazing. We're looking, for this first one to be, really good. And, I was talking to one of my buddies. He was saying that, we need to put a grudge race together on, we got 2 sleds, and the promoter put $1,000 up and have 2 class legal deals on 2 different sleds, and actually have a drag race, to the finish. Winner takes $1,000. So something like that, might could, interest some people, to put something in the pot. And, we're just looking for a good time, and, maybe something different like that we could throw in. And, really excited, have been for a year building this track, and, Jeremy's done an amazing job on it, and it's going to be a good weekend. I feel confident the weather's going to hold off, and we're going to have a good pull.
All right, last one, Jeremy. What's your deal for the weekend? What you thinking?
Yeah, I'm with Eric. We just want to get the weather right so we can get a good weekend in for the first one at Mooresville, and where all this hard work can pay off for us. Because there's a lot of people other than myself, put a lot of time in building that track and getting it ready, and hopefully we can make that happen. And then, once we do get to pull, I'm planning on trying to just be in the front. So maybe all that'll work out for us.
Well, I don't know. You got some tough competition right now in that Pro Street Diesel class. That class is tightening up a little bit. Look, folks, this weekend, Saturday, Carolina show starts at 6 o'clock. And when we get an updated time for that lawnmower pull, about 11 or 12, just let us know. Just let us know. We'll definitely update. That'll be worth going out there all day. You've got vendors. You've got all kinds of stuff out there. So that's going to be a great show. The weather's looking great for Saturday, folks. The rain's ending Friday afternoon, Friday night. It's going to be out of here. The track is sealed right now. So we're a go. So this show is not canceled. Just anybody who's got any questions, because you know how that goes on social media too. So, folks, we're going to play the commercial. We're going to pull everybody off here. We're going to play the commercial one more time. And you folks, we will see you this Saturday. I'll see you before 6, but come on out there early. Enjoy the lawnmower pulling. Walk through the pits. Get your signatures from your favorite drivers. They'll be out there. They'll be glad to autograph everything for you. Let's throw the commercial up here, and let's do it one more time. One quick thing I want to mention, folks. Stack Equipment has come on with Carolina Pullers this year, and we've got some great equipment they're letting us use. And let me tell you, folks, that, and I don't know what they officially call this thing is, but it buries rocks in the track, and we've had to use it several times this year. And it's just the way God made, the earth. There's some rocks in there somewhere, but instead of trying to kick those rocks out of the top, that thing's actually stuffing them down. So definitely check out Stack Equipment. I'm telling you, folks, they have been great for us this year. Specialized Turf Equipment Company. Check them out. Go to stackequipment.com. Want to definitely give a shout out to those guys. Folks, we're going to wrap it up right here. Good night. God bless. And we will see you this Saturday, 6 o'clock. We'll get out there early, 11 or 12 o'clock. Get out there. Bring your kids out there to walk around for the lawnmower pulling, hang out. We're going to be rolling coal, blower motors, loud noises. We're going to have it all for you this weekend at Mooresville Dragway. Go to carolinapullers.org or Carolina Truck and Tractor Pullers on Facebook for more information. Folks, good night and God bless.